on a 41-foot sailboat in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay with about 7 men doing a shakedown test cruise, planned to be out about 12 hours. Mid-1980s was not as reliable weather prediction resources. We get caught in tropical storms, winds gusting until the 50-mile-per-hour range, just this short of a weak hurricane. We had just barely rigged storm hawsers and storm sails before the one fellow aboard, who was the best sailor since the storm, was almost on us. Otherwise, we would have died. During the storm itself, I expected to die at any time. In fact, we made a secret call on the radio. If you have time at sea, you'd know what I'm talking about. If not, it's not that important. For what seemed like 15 minutes, we were in a maelstrom, no visibility, but then it passed. We would live. This was about 3 p.m., and although there was a cloud cover, of course, the ambient light was such that you could see 2 miles or so in any direction. If you're familiar with the sea, you know that such storms, particularly in shallower depths near land masses, dredge a lot of things on the sea floor. The sighting. We're all on the deck working lines, checking damage, etc., and at the bay around us is choppy and churning and foaming. Old-timey sailors often use the saying, "The sea is confused." I look about 15 feet of the starboard side, and something swims to the surface, breaks the surface and it looks at us, then submerges again. It was like a thin man with humanoid shape, arms articulated like a man, a human head, but his skin was covered with scales, like a fish, like a snake. It looked at us, blinked its weird heavy-lidded eyes, then dove back under. So maybe you need to know a few things about me at the moment. No drugs, no alcohol, no injuries. I was elated because I was glad to be alive, but my senses in that situation were sharpened, not dulled. I had, at that time, about 6 years' experience on ships and fishing boats, and had not seen squid, octopus, flying fish, sharks, skates, etc. all around the world. I was not the type of guy to see a patch of seaweed and call it a sea monster. I made an instant decision that I was not going to say anything. What could I say? I just saw a strange creature. Take my word for it. The men on this boat were all mechanics and engineers, professionals. Why get a reputation as a flake? At the time, it was important of each of us to get D skipper or OOD qualifications, and saying something like that would be frowned upon. And as I stood there in my life vest, soaking wet, hooked onto the steel lifeline, glad to be alive, one of the other sailors, a U.S. Navy captain, U.S. was over 30 years experience in the surface Navy, piped up and said, "I just saw a brown thing pop up on the surface. It looked like a lizard man with a scaly face. It blinked at us with big eyes, and then it went back under." "Yeah, I saw it too," I said. No one else said that. They had seen it. Then we sailed back to the pier later that day and didn't speak of it again.